This video is brought to you by Grainger Warranty, your #1 online source for factory-backed extended warranties in the country.
It's new long-termer day, guys. That's right, Honda has lent us their new Passport for a few months to put through the paces. Now, as you know, I'm a huge off-road enthusiast, and I'm so happy that Honda has gone to the effort to turn this Passport into something potentially trail ready. That's right, it's the first time I'm taking the new Passport Trailsport through the TFL slip test. We're gonna get it out into the trenches. We're gonna see what it's like out in the real world. And we're gonna find out, is this legit over the next few months by taking it on a whole bunch of trails, driving it through the snow. Big thank you to Honda for lending us this vehicle, unsponsored, my honest independent review. Let's check this thing out. In the TFL slip test, we get various wheels stuck on purpose in these rollers to see how the all-wheel drive systems react to really tough environments. And this iVTM4 has historically been one of the best. So let's find out if this latest version in the Passport is still king. So first test is the front wheel slip test. So both front wheels are stuck in the rollers. The rear wheels are gonna have to start to spin to get us unstuck. So in 3, 2, 1, gentle throttle application. All right, so pretty good result. Clearly, with just a little bit of throttle, front wheels just gave a little bit of slip, rear axle engaged, and got us unstuck. On to the next test. Next up is the diagonal slip test. Now this is an iconic test. It's front left, right rear stuck in the rollers. Now this is a great test for if you're off-road, which we're about to be. It's a great example of what we can expect off-road, but it's also very common in the snow. Imagine you're pulling up on a snowy curb. You kind of get opposite ends of the car, a little bit teeter-tottered. Let's find out what happens. So we run all these tests in normal mode, just like you would drive the car every day. And then if we get really stuck, we can try out some of the special drive modes. So we're nice and settled in the rollers in 3, 2, 1, light throttle application, right? We don't want to simulate full throttle. That's not how you get unstuck in the real world. That's not how we do it on the rollers, but you can see almost no difficulty, car pulled right down. Now things really start to heat up. So this is the first 3-wheel slip test. Both rear wheels stuck, front left stuck. Only the front right is on the ground. So we're gonna start off in normal mode, and then if we get stuck, maybe we'll give trail a shot and see if that can get us unstuck. Back in the pilot, up, Passport. Geez, my dyslexia not agreeing with me today. All right, normal mode, come on, right front, let's start spinning. Okay, so it's not doing much in the normal mode. What if I go into the trail setting? Okay, you can hear that traction control starting to activate. There we go. So what happened there is we got a lot of torque distribution to the front right, and when that happens, you got a couple things which are going on. First of all, the vehicle drives forward, but you might also notice it pivot a little bit to the right. You could say that is cheating, but the reality is what it's doing is it's applying so much torque to that wheel that it acts as a pivot point and kind of shimmies the whole car over. But that's good, that means it's working. Torque transfer worked, but definitely a big difference in that between normal and trail settings.
And no matter which car or truck you have, if you plan on keeping it for a longer period of time, you should check out GraingerWarranty.com. Use the link in the description below. Grainger Warranty is one of the best sellers of factory-backed extended warranties across the country, and you could save some money while doing it, about $1,000 on average. And you don't have to buy it immediately when you buy a brand new vehicle. You could wait a little bit and then get that warranty. And when your truck needs service, you can be sure that they're using certified components, OEM quality stuff, and the work is done at a certified facility or a dealership anywhere across the country.
All right, now for the final test. Most crossovers fail this because they're front wheel drive biased. Sending power to the back is a very difficult thing, especially when you're talking left to right distribution. But with this Honda and the iVTM4 system, it has a series of clutches in the back that can distribute power left and right. And historically it's been really good. Let's see if it's still magic in the new one. Now we're in normal mode, in drive, going onto the throttle. Okay, car's spinning, it's thinking about it, but not much is going on. Okay, Really is, you can really feel it rocking. So we're not getting unstuck in normal mode, but let's go into the trail, sand, or tow setting. I'm gonna go to the trail mode. I think that's gonna be the one that's gonna distribute the most torque. Oh, actually, interesting. Okay, there we go. Well, it took a little bit more thinking than I thought. Eventually we did get unstuck from that, but let's go ahead and try that again in a different mode. All right, let's try the sand setting on this 3-wheel slip test. So we're seeing a lot of additional slip out the traction control, which you might expect in sand, but no more additional engagement out of the rear diff. And how about the snow mode? Interesting. This result is not as it typically goes with these trail sports. How about the trail setting? Back to the trail setting. Okay, well, there we go. It took a lot of work, but we got unstuck. I'm not sure that system's gotten better than previous generations. I'm gonna include some clips of older IVTM4 systems now, and I'll let you make that call. Even Subarus with the symmetrical all-wheel drive system really struggle on this test, but let's see if the Honda has a super secret trick up its sleeve with the IVTM4 rear axle that can distribute torque left and right on the fly. So we're in drive, foot off the brake, applying throttle. Wow. Yeah, pretty impressive result. Didn't take a lot of effort at all, and that left rear started engaging, started crawling the vehicle forward, and we drove down. Into drive, starting out in normal mode here. Accelerating away. Got some slippage. Wheels are spinning. We're not, oh, we did! We did it! Even in normal mode, we were able to get off. I was amazed that actually worked. Here, let's try it again. I'm gonna reset the rollers and we're gonna try one of the off-road modes, see if that improves it even more. But that was incredible. Just about no other crossover can actually complete that test, especially a front-wheel drive based crossover, and the Pilot did it. Without cheating, without sliding off the rollers, that was impressive. With this Trailsport up on the lift, we can start to check out some of the engineering underneath here. Now up front, we do have genuine recovery points painted in orange, so you know they're going to work pretty well. Now this does look like a skid plate. That is plastic, as is this little trim panel back here, but luckily underneath that engine, that right there is a real metal skid plate. So we do have some good news there when it comes to protection for the oil pan. Now, of course, a fully independent suspension, and this is a transverse mounted V6. It's not a Jeep by any means, right? It's not longitudinal with a low range transfer case. It's still more conventional, but at least we do have a little bit of skid plating up here in the front, which is great. Now as we start moving our way back, of course you do have your drive shaft that runs down the center of the vehicle. It's not like the Honda systems where it's a hybrid with an all-wheel drive. This is more conventional than that. It's got a normal drive shaft. We do have some of this weird felt plating, which is a little worrying to see on an off-roader, but when we come to the fuel tank, once again, we are going to find steel skids, which is great. And this is cool too. So Honda has incorporated these Honda Performance Design rock rails on this model. Now they are pretty low, but they do offer that rocker protection, which you might want if you're going to venture in something a little bit more serious. And then out back, there's our differential. No diff cover, fairly exposed sway bar and exhaust. We're going to have to be a little bit careful with that. But there's your torque vectoring, your diff. And then out back, no conventional recovery point, but there is a Class 2 hitch back there. So if you did need a shackle, you could hook up to that. And then there's no full-size spare. However, it does have a temporary spare underneath the floor in the trunk. Welcome to Andre's Pit. Actually, it's Onyx Off-Road's Andre's Pit, if we're being precise, and Onyx Off-Road is the sponsor of our off-road channel, and that's because they offer the single greatest off-road navigation I've ever used. It works great, you know what you're getting into, you can find the coolest dispersed camping spots, and it's just the gold standard. I use it every single time I drive off pavement. All right, now let's see what this Honda can do off-road. These parking sensors are going to drive me a little crazy, and I wish they had a physical button to turn them off. But I digress. Now the trenches course, these offset holes cut into the earth. We're starting out in the normal mode. Let's see if we can get through a normal mode with these grabber tires doing their thing. So that's the first transition. Independent suspension on this vehicle, and you only got about 8 inches of ground clearance. Now we're taking it slow on purpose to make it tricky for the vehicle, but we are working our way through it. This is one of the harder ones. So onto the accelerator. You can hear that all-wheel drive system working. Really got to build into that V6 though on that part to get through that. It was really heavy throttle application. So no low range, of course, in the Passport. There we go. But it does have a very torquey V6 and a conventional torque converter automatic. But let's go ahead and try that again. This time I'm going to go into trail mode because we did get through it in the standard setting, but it took a lot of throttle, took a lot of wheel spin. What I'm always going for off-road is control, right? If you can get something through something with control, it means less damage to your vehicle, less damage to the trail. That's the situation you want to be in. So into the trail setting here on the little drive toggle. Trail mode engaged, and let's see if we see more active engagement out of that IVTM4 system, out of that rear diff. Oh yeah, immediately you can really feel it come into action, come into play. So same thing, we're going to take it really slow through this bit. Okay, there's that transition onto two wheels. This is where we got stuck last time. Same line, gentle throttle application. Okay, now that's the result I was looking for, right? You can actually feel the brake pressure being distributed around the vehicle. Yeah, that's the control. That's exactly what I was hoping for, right? So one thing I'm noticing in this new Passport immediately is there's a very big difference in programming between the normal and the trail mode. And if you are going to take your Passport off-road, you got to make sure to remember to click it down in the trail. So next thing I want to try while we have it is we have our little rock course here. This is called Boulder Boulevard. Now one of the drawbacks with the Trailsport is we only have about 8 inches of ground clearance, which is a little bit limiting. Luckily, we do have some underbody protection to protect us if things get too gnarly, but hopefully we don't have to use it here. So I'm just going to kind of try to gently drive my way up this. I'm going to try giving it a little bit of two-footing so I can be more in control. It does take me a few days to really get used to a vehicle before I'm comfortable off-roading it, but that's feeling much better. And actually, I think we're going to just have the clearance to get through that. All right, Honda, not bad. There's some capability in this thing, folks. I think with a little bit of time behind the wheel and a little bit of practice finding where the limit is, we might be able to take this Passport down some pretty cool stuff. Pretty neat indeed. So look, folks, I think there's a lot of interesting videos to be done with this Passport, because not only do we have the rest of fall in Colorado, the single greatest time to be in the state for off-roading, but we also have winter coming, and that means we can put it through its paces on and off-road in some snowy environments and see what this thing is really made out of. So huge thank you to Honda for sending us this Passport over the next few months. I would love to hear your input into what you want to see done with our long-term Passport. And as always, has been Tommy behind the camera case in this video. We'll see you in the next one.